let's ask Reverend Ken. Thank you. My team, my church, my people.
And that was great. That was wonderful. I'm going to take this music stand. I'll give you that. Yeah. Fabulous. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was wonderful.
And your talk will be wonderful.
Thank you. I hope. Let's see what happens. Hi. It is so good to be back here. Oh my God. So I have all this stuff planned, but right now all I want to do is take this in and be with you in this beautiful, abundant space with this beautiful day and the infinite possibility that lies ahead of each and every one of us. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Reverend Ken Diagle, and I first stepped foot on this campus in 2007 to come for an SEE week that was being run by Dr. Paul Hasselbeck, and Medora was teaching at it, and I met Chris Cruiser here, and we were becoming licensed teachers together. I had just moved to California from New York City, and I fell in love with this campus, and I joined the choir for a while. I met Desiree and I became fast friends because I had a life in the theater, and the Broadway theater, before I moved into ministry. So I am all the stereotypical things you think about a Broadway dancer who becomes a minister. That's all me. I own it. I'm out there. I'm way too much for some people, and I'm just perfect for others. So wherever I fit in that spectrum, I just hope we have a great time today. You know, I'm writing a book right now. Unity is publishing a book I'm writing on abundance, and its working title is Abundant Living, but the publishers have much more say about what the title is going to be than the author. So I'm used to that. I'm welcoming that. And I just wanted to tell you a little story. It's not in my plan to talk, but I wanted to share a little story. But I live in Terra Linda now. For years I lived in San Francisco. I still am the minister at Unity San Francisco, but I live just 10 minutes from here. And Deanne and I have trouble getting to see each other because I'm always in the city and she's here, but we're working it out and we're having a great time. The story of how I ended up in Terra Linda is quite interesting. It was in the middle of COVID, and we had just put the kids, I have my little one here who refused to go to childcare today, so he's with us here in the sanctuary, another gift of abundance. And but we were sitting on, I had just put the kids to sleep. My husband and I sat down on the couch. I pull up my phone like we all do. I'm checking the phone, and I get onto Facebook, and all of a sudden this beautiful house appears on my Facebook feed. Well, Heidi Lustig had put it on her Facebook feed, and we were friends because of my time here. And so I kept looking and scrolling through these magnificent pictures of this house on a hill, like you just sang about, right? And I was like going, this is magnificent. And we were 3 kids, 2 adults, and a dog in this 1,500 square foot San Francisco house. So we were, and it was the middle of COVID, we were all working from home and schooling at home. We were bursting at the seams. So they said, there's an open house on Sunday. So I said, let's go to the open house. So I make a phone call, and they said, no, you can only come to the open house if you have a pre-approved mortgage. Sorry, it's COVID. We only take appointments. You can't come. I said, I know Heidi. And they let me in. So we go to the open house. We get there. We step into the foyer, and we see from the foyer the beautiful views of the hills around here. And it's a magnificent house if you've ever been in it. And it's like, my husband said, this is it. This is our house. So that was Sunday. They told us at the end of the open house that all offers were due on Monday. We still didn't have a pre-approval, but we called our banker at the time and had the banker run us an approval for the house if we would put an offer in it on Monday, and by the end of day Monday they had an approval. My husband wrote a letter about how we'd love to bring our 3 adopted children into this house and raise them, and sent it all off. By Tuesday evening, when we were making dinner for the kids, I got a ping on my phone, and it was Heidi saying, "You've been approved, it's your house." Then, because we didn't have $1.8 million in our bank account, we had to sell our house quickly, right? So we sold our house at an incredible profit before it even made it to market. The realtors showed it to someone before it even made it. So we made our 30-day closing, and in a month, that was in the middle of May, at the beginning of June, we moved into Terra Linda and have never looked back. It has been an incredible blessing. And why I tell this story is not just the wonderful abundance, the prosperity that it tells, but it also is that the world is full of infinite possibilities. There are all the people who tell you you can't. You can't get an approval that quick. You can't possibly move in a month. You can't sell your house in this market. You can't, in retirement, make more money. Well, all those people who say can't need to go away. And unfortunately, sometimes they're in our own mind, right? They exist between our ears. But we have to learn to have a conversation with them saying, "Thank you for your sharing, but I'm going to go forward with this, and we're going to see what happens." We're going to see how living in a field of infinite potential and infinite possibility works. And when your good shows up different than you imagined, it is probably a sign that it is from spirit and not your ego. I never envisioned myself living in Marin. I never envisioned myself living in Terra Linda. It's lovely neighborhoods, but I have been living in cities my entire life. And I lived in New Orleans, in the city, loved it. Went to school on the Elysian Fields bus in New Orleans. Moved to Manhattan, lived in Manhattan for 27 years. Moved to San Francisco, lived in San Francisco for 15 years. Yes, you can do the math, I'm that old. Right? And after I moved to San Francisco, I was like, this is it, I'm a city kid. But I have to tell you that living here in Terra Linda, which is like living in the 1950s, you laugh because it's true. My kids play in the streets, the cars never come by, the deer and the antelope play. It really is living in another life. I am so happy and restful. And when your good can show up different than you think it should be, it means that ego gets out of the way. How many of us have done that romantically? Oh, that's the one, right? That's the one I think I need to be in relationship with. And we bend ourselves into pretzels trying to make these relationships work, and they end up hurting us so much. I have a story like that too. My husband was a friend for 3 years, and I kept dating all the wrong people in succession after succession after succession. And finally, after a breakup, I went out to dinner with JD, and we were sitting there talking all evening, and by the end of the dinner, I knew we were on a date. And he ended up, after being friends for 3 years, we started dating, and within a year, we were engaged and moving to California. When your good shows up in a form you never expected, it's a sign, it's from God. It is a gift. We're now married 18 years and with 3 kids. Right? So how does this apply to you? How does this really apply to you? You need to be open. We all need to be open to infinite possibilities, right? When we can open to infinite possibilities, we can stop trying to control everything. Because folks, guess what? You can't. All the positive thinking in the world, all the affirmations you could ever say are not going to stop the stuff from happening. It is not going to stop people from getting diagnosed. It's not going to stop people from transitioning and leaving this world. It is not going to stop the politics of this nation. What we have to do is look through it, and we use positive thinking and affirmations for when things happen. It's not a magic spell that keeps life from changing. Life will constantly change, but in the change is the infinite potential. And when we can look past what is to what could be, we have changed. And when we change, the situation changes, right? That's what this is all about. And to do that, we need to take care of all of our centers of intelligence. Did you know that there's more than one, right? There's many centers of intelligence. I count them as 4, though, and what I'm going to describe to you today is the 4 centers of intelligence. The first is your gut. Did you know that there's 100 million neurons in your gut? And it tells more information to your brain than your spinal cord does. Your gut is important, and it's why every mother and every grandmother has always said, don't make that decision on an empty stomach. Young man, sit down and eat your meal, because when you're hungry, you really make poor decisions. That's why we call it hangry at my house, right? So understanding to trust your gut, that it has a center of intelligence and wisdom, and you need to tune into it. You all know this when you're going, wait, I'm apprehensive about this and I feel it in my stomach. This is making me anxious. There's a difference too, though, between anxious and stopping you. What I'm asking you to do is just become aware that your stomach, your body is trying to tell you something. The second is the center of the heart, right? And it doesn't mean that it's all mushy and gooey. It means that it is aware. And that, did you know, the Heart Math Institute here in California has been researching the power of the heart for decades now. That your heart creates an electromagnetic field that is larger than the one generated by your brain. The electromagnetic field of your heart is powerful. And when it's in coherence, when we're in coherence, you can feel it. Close your eyes for a second. Can you feel the people around you? There's a sense of us all in this room together. Have you ever had the experience, you can open your eyes, have you ever had the experience of walking into a room and knowing something just happened in there, right? That's probably because you walked into the electromagnetic field of 2 people who were just having some kind of encounter, or a group of people having an encounter, and your heart knows it before your head does. Because the electromagnetic field of a fight is powerful. There's a lot of energy in that, right? And you can just tell when you've entered that kind of environment. That's the wisdom of the heart. And it is about knowing what's important to you. It doesn't mean it's sentimental. It means that it's wise, right? It means that it puts love at the forefront, but not as a pushover. Love as a force to change things, to shift consciousness, and to shift the world. There's, of course, our intellect. Our brains are amazing things, and none of us could function in the world without the use of our intellectual capacity. But people who only rely on their brains to make decisions are usually not successful. There was an amazing study done by Harvard in the 50s of people with IQs over 150, right? Geniuses. And they studied them for decades. What they found out was that geniuses were no more likely to be successful than you and I. Because genius is not the only indicator, intellectual genius is not the only indicator of success in the world. EQ, emotional intelligence, is just as important as IQ. And then the last center of intelligence is spirit. The universal intelligence, that what we call God, spirit, ancestors, Mother Earth, Father, God, Mother Time. All of that wisdom exists for us right here and now. When we can listen to our gut, our heart, our mind, and spirit itself, We are open to the field of infinite possibility, and anything is possible. Don't let them tell you it can't be. It can. I know it. I've lived it. And while I am not saying that I have finished the project, I am constantly amazed by the amount of good that shows up in my life. In my book and in my courses, I describe abundance, and I use the term abundance rather than prosperity very specifically, because abundance to me connotes a wholeness of life, whereas prosperity we've just taken to mean money and the flow of cash. There's nothing wrong with it. We all need it to survive, right? So let's talk about what true abundance is. Vibrant health. Vibrant health isn't just about perfection. My friend Joy Weiler, Reverend Joy Weiler, was 3'6". She was a little person, right? She sat on the board of Unity World Headquarters with me, but she was a towering figure. She was a lawyer, a minister, and a child advocate. She adopted 2 children, 2 people with dwarfism from India, where they were shunned and put out on the streets. She raised them as a single mom, and she was fierce. But she looked at me and said, "Ken, no amount of affirmations are going to make me 6 foot." Right? I can affirm until I'm blue in the face, and I'm still not going to be 6 foot tall. But she was a giant. She was powerful. And that's what I mean about vibrant health. It has nothing to do with the diagnosis you may have. It may have nothing to do with your physical ailments or lack of body parts or how things function. It has to do with an idea that this is my body. It is vibrant. It is healthy. At whatever age I am living a vibrant life, a life filled with vibrant health. And that's a mental capacity of understanding what health is. Right? Enriching relationships is the next category. We all need them. None of us live alone. We know that children who are left unattended never develop fully. We need each other to survive. Literally. But to have relationships that enrich our lives, that foster true communication, where we don't pretend, we don't put a gloss on it, where we tell the truth to each other and help each other grow and thrive, that's part of our abundance. Not a single one of us has made it to this point in life by ourselves. We've all had teachers, friends, family, lovers, husbands, wives, who have helped us to be the people we are today. Right? Work you love. Work you love is essential to your well-being, your vibrancy, and to your abundance. Now, that may be work you're paid for. It may be volunteer work. I know some of the richest people I know work so hard for free. They work all the time for things they care about. And I know people with very little in their bank account who give so generously of their time to make the world a better place. That's why we get up in the morning. Whether it's raising children, whether it's leading a community, whether it is being a doctor or a nurse or a healthcare worker or a home health aide or a teacher or a gardener. Work you love, the things that light you up, are part of your abundance. Free time. All of this is no good without enough time to stop and smell the roses, right? We can work and work and work and work and work, but if we don't have the free time we need, what is it all for? Now, for everything, there's a season. I've had a week where I didn't have a day off for over 7 days because of just how things flew in the calendar. But yesterday we went up here near Petaluma to the pumpkin patch. And we spent the day with the kids in the pumpkin patch. And everybody was texting me and going, "I need this." And I'm going, "I'm at the pumpkin patch. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm at the pumpkin patch." much. And we had a blast. And my oldest son turned 26. Can't believe it. Yes, he's 26 now. And we had a birthday party for him last night. It was a whole day of getting to enjoy what we've created, right? So free time is an important part of abundance. And the last is the material resources you need to make it all happen. Now, material doesn't necessarily mean money, your money. One of the best vacations I ever had in my life was on someone else's 84-foot yacht with a cook and a captain and 2 wave runners. We flew down to the Bahamas. My partner at the time and I got on this yacht. We were taken from island to island. Every meal was prepared for us. We drank champagne, ate lobster bought off the back of the boat for 2 weeks. Didn't cost me a penny. And I have to tell you something too. It was a fabulous vacation. The couple that we vacationed with eventually sold the yacht because maintaining a yacht is a lot harder than vacationing on one. They paid the full-time salaries to those 2 that were the staff on the yacht. They paid for all the maintenance of the yacht and the docking of the yacht and the taxes on the yacht. And it's like, the world is rife with abundance. We don't have to own it to enjoy it. The material resources you need to make this community thrive, to make your life opulent, already exist in the world, correct? We're not creating them by magic out of thin air. What we need to do is allow for the infinite flow of good into our lives. The infinite flow of good into our lives. And to do that, we get to open to what is. You only can create what will be when you acknowledge what is. Eckhart Tolle said it this way: if you're stuck in the mud, the only way out is to acknowledge you're stuck in the mud. But if we sit in their denial, it ain't gonna work. We sit in misunderstood unity denial. And I have a joke I'm going to share with you about that. So a priest, a rabbi, and a unity minister end up in hell. The priest is over in the corner, the flames are lapping at him, the devil's taunting him, and he's going, "Oh my God, I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all of my sins because of thy just punishment." Right? And he's just tortured. The rabbi's over in this corner, and the rabbi's going, "Oy vey, what did I do to deserve this? I'm such a schmuck. I didn't know, God, I didn't know." And the unity minister's in the center going, "It's not hot, and I'm not here. It's not hot, and I'm not here." Unfortunately, that's a lot of what we do here in Unity, right? We pretend that the pain isn't happening, that the struggle isn't happening. But to embrace the struggle, to love what is the way through it. When we can acknowledge that we are struggling, we can elicit people, those enriching relationships, to help us and move us forward. We can find the way out of it. And part of that is acceptance. I know I have in recovery from drugs and alcohol for 21 years now, right? I am legal to have a drink if my sobriety date were true. But I don't drink because I love my life so much better now than when I was. And you may recognize this quote: "When I am disturbed, it is because I find some person, place, or thing, some situation, a fact of life, unacceptable to me. And I can find no serenity until I accept that person, that place, or that situation exactly as it's supposed to be at that moment." Whew. That's from the AA Big Book. Acceptance is the key to all of my problems. And I really want us to understand that it doesn't mean that it won't change, but unless you accept what is, you're fighting reality. And reality always wins. Only 100% of the time, but reality always wins. So stop banging your head against the wall. Acknowledge what is, and then figure out how to move forward. Until I could accept my addiction, I couldn't get beyond it. And now beyond it, I live a life beyond my wildest dreams. So we open to infinite possibilities with our intelligence, to what is, and to the opposite. Byron Katie talks about it in her work. Sometimes when we can explore the opposite of what we think, what we believe, not just what we think, what we really believe. When we think about what our true beliefs are and explore the opposite of it, we find enrichment in ways we couldn't understand before. And I'll give you a really harsh example. My lover, who I took that vacation on the yacht with, passed away in 1998. Right? It was really hard. And I had to call his parents and tell him he was 44 years old. We buried him. And I said I never want to experience that again. But if that were true, if it was really true that I would never want to experience that again, I wouldn't be married now. I wouldn't have children. I wouldn't have a family. I had to get to a place where I said, I am willing to experience that again so that I could experience love again. I had to get to a place where I say, I am willing to have my heart broken again because I want to have my heart filled again. And to actively work at seeking the opposite of what we think we could not possibly endure gives us a mental and physical stamina and capacity to soar through any adversity. Right? To understand that the opposite of what we think can be equally as true is phenomenal. Because we always think, oh, life is hard. There's not enough money. Is that true? Life is not hard. My thinking life is hard is what makes it hard. We are all here, whatever age we are, right? With a gift that many don't get. A treasured gift my 44-year-old lover never got to experience the other side of that age. I plan to enjoy every moment of it, right? The body aches, the gray hairs, the wrinkles, and all. It is all a gift, and I want to understand the true abundance of aging. Right? Let's applaud that. Right? The true abundance of aging in this body, in this world, in this life. And fun and play. So as you might have guessed from this, I like to be, my friends call me Irreverend Ken. And I'm going to go there with you. I was scrolling Facebook again the other day. There's this meme, a video that came up about this book that you can purchase and create for what's going to happen to you, what your last wishes are for your family. So, and it says, the title of the book on it is, If I Die. If? I almost typed it into the Facebook meme, and I was like going, they don't know me. It's like, this is going to cause a lot of trouble. But it's like, no, this should say, when I die. This is what I want to have happen. This is how I want to have it. One of my favorite movies, how many people have seen Steel Magnolias? A friend of mine did the costumes for it, and she's great. But I love the moment. I love the moment where Sally Field is at the funeral of her daughter, right? And all of her friends are around her, and she's so angry, and she's crying, and she's screaming, I just want to hit something. I just want to hit someone. I can't stand it. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. And you can see the pain, the heartache. And one of her friends pulls Weezer around and says, here, hit Weezer. Right? And Sally Field looks at her, and they just all start laughing and crying at the same time. And the play is powerful for me because I'm a child of the South, and it's set there, and for other reasons. I have known that heartache. As I mentioned, my lover who died 3 years ago this month, my 17-year-old nephew took his own life. It was horrific. And Tim was the minister here, and I had to fly home. And Tim called and said, well, what can I do? And I said, you can give me Deanne because I need to fly home. So she went and spoke for me. And I went home and took care of my sister. So this is my baby sister and her baby son. And I flew overnight, and it got there. She was asleep when I got to New Orleans. And we were sitting on the couch. I just waited for her to wake up, and we cried together. And she said to me, she goes, we were having to plan his funeral, and she goes, I don't want any mention of God. I am so mad at God right now. I don't want anything that has to do with religion at this service. And I said, well, you're speaking to the right minister. So we laughed. That was the first laugh. And we went about planning a memorial service for Noah that was supportive and open. But not a half hour later, we were still sitting there in the room, and she turned to me and says, I want to go back to the place where he died, and I want to put a cross at the spot. And I looked at her and said, you do know that's a religious symbol, right? And she let out a stream of expletives, F-bombs, right at me that could have curled your skin. But we fell into each other's arms and laughed and cried and had that moment because we needed the relief of tears, right? We needed the relief of knowing that we were going to be there for each other no matter what. Play, even in the midst of pain and heartache, is essential for our well-being. It's who we are. Every mammal on earth plays. Dolphins play, birds play, animals play. We needed to. Play is how we create something that has never existed before. It is how we heal the broken heart. It is essential to abundance. And then the last one is time. Open to time. Like I mentioned, open to aging. Open to knowing that there's more than enough time to do what's important. Open to knowing that time is on our side. Time is on our side. At Unity San Francisco, when we sold our old building, and I'm looking at Roberta, and I know she knows it, we were in this dumpy old space, excuse me. Couldn't say that out loud at the time, but I can say it here now. And we sold it for an incredible amount of money. We sold it for $6 million because there was 2 cannabis companies bidding for it that wanted the space to make a cannabis shop. And we bought our new space for $2.7 million. And we took the leftover money and we invested it, and we have restored the new space till it's magnificent. But it didn't happen overnight. It took 2 years to sell the old space. It took another year to find the new space. It has now taken us 5 years to renovate the new space because of COVID, because of things. But in that time, the money sat in the bank and made more money. The resources and the wisdom came up. Waiting showed us things we would have never known if we had rushed in and done it quickly. Time is part of your abundance. We're all sitting here in the luxury of time. And I know I've gone on too long. But I have so enjoyed spending this time with you, of being here and sharing what's possible for each and every one of us. We live in a field of infinite possibility and infinite potential. Let's stop acting like there's not enough. Deal? Let's take that to our time of meditation. Thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy's going to come up. Yeah. And I invite you to get comfortable, to enjoy the seat you're sitting on, knowing it was given by someone, right? Someone's material good has made your butt comfortable today. Right? knowing that this space is a gift of the universe to this community, knowing that the sun shining on us right here and right now is a gift from the heavens. So I invite you to take a deep breath, to know the truth that you are one with all of the universe, that the ancient wisdom of our ancestors, the wisdom of our parents, and the divine wisdom of God itself is now pouring through you and into every cell and atom of your body. As you take another deep breath, I invite you to feel the air on your skin and to notice how your body feels in this moment. The infinite possibility of this temple we call our body. Its sensations, its desires, its amazing functions, the hearts that beat, the stomach that digests, the feet that propel, the mind that imagines. What a gift of abundance and prosperity and love this body is. And as we take another deep breath, we go even deeper into the stillness, into the quiet, into the calm. And I invite you in this moment to walk through the steps of manifestation with me. You don't have to open your eyes. You can speak out loud if you want, but you don't have to. The first step is to name and claim your good. Name and claim your heart's desire. See it in your mind's eye happening for you right here and now. And enjoy it happening. Celebrate, laugh, play, enjoy. Your good is right here at hand. Let go of that little voice that says, no, won't last. Let go of that voice that tells you, not good enough or not enough. Shift your consciousness gently and effortlessly away and stay in the realm of infinite possibility. In your mind's eye, take concrete steps to make sure that you keep your good. See it anchored in your life, your family, your friends. See and explore the wholeness of what your good does. And now, give away from your excess. Share your journey. Share each step along the way. Share the bounty of your dream. Share the inspiration of your heart with your community, with your family, with your friends. As I like to say it, love wastefully. For there is no end, no limit to love. Love wastefully. And be open. As I said at the top, when your good shows up in a form that you did not expect, it's likely a sign it's from Spirit. Accept the gifts of Spirit right here and now. The good you're looking for is likely already in your life. Enjoy it in your mind's eye. Experience it with your whole body right here in the silence. So we give thanks to Spirit itself for the gifts of this day, for the gifts of our life, for the gift yet to be known. For we live, move, and have our being in Spirit. So it is. Amen. Namaste.